Hey guys, it is I.B.B. and it's post commentary here today. Why, you ask? Well, because I can. That's why. Really, I do have a reason. There was a few things about this game that I wanted to go over, and I just didn't feel like live commentary was going to do that. And I know some people are like, well, I don't like post commentary because, well, I have a different perspective after the fact. Yeah, you like my impression there? Yeah, well, yes, of course, that's why you do post commentary, because you have a different perspective on it after the fact. And I went back, and I usually record a lot of my games, not all of them, but a good majority of them. And I like to go back and kind of nitpick them apart. I like to see what the enemy team does. That's why I pay attention to names of other players, because I want to know what their strategies are. And some people say, well, they all play in the same. No, they don't. And if you think that, well, that's fine. You can do that. But no, different players do play the same bot in a different style. Some are just better than others. So here I'm up against a Lancelot, and a lot of players would actually just kind of go out there and try to turn that beacon. And we're down 3 beacons. We're down 3-2 right now. It was 3-1. So a lot of players would just go out there and try to get that side beacon. However, I knew that if I did that, I'm just plain old outmatched. So what I decided to do was just sort of play with that corner a little bit and bide my time until backup arrived. Now, how did I know that backup was on its way? Well, if you look at the peripheral of your screen, the outside edges of it, you can see little blue and red arrows along the side there, and you can kind of estimate as to the movements of your team and the enemy team. Now, here's a spot where a lot of players, once they took care of the side beacon, would just go and try to find the next closest guy to shoot. But I decided to hang out over here, not because I'm camping or wasting time or anything like that, but because I knew that I was the last line of defense over there. We didn't have any other of my teammates over here, and so I had to stay over here and at least try to defend this. So I would say that that is a pretty successful capture of that side beacon and defense of that side beacon. So it was at this point that I decided that that bot was pretty much done. There really wasn't a whole lot that I was going to be able to do with that at that point. So I decided to jump out of that one. So after taking care of this guy down here, who was slightly out of position, I decide you're going to see me shift my view from left to right. And so what I'm doing is I'm checking ranges, and I'm also checking movements of the red team and my team as well. It's important to note the movements of your team and the enemy team. After looking at all that, I decide, you know what? Nobody's really over here. None of my teammates are over here. None of those guys are over here. I'm just going to head right back on over here. That was the best option. Now, I don't always go back to the same side of the map that I ended the previous bot on. It just sort of depends on what movements are happening. Also, one of the things that I like to do is sort of guess as to what the other team is in. There you saw me come up on this beacon, but instead of going all the way out there, you saw me stop just before. And that's because I was looking at that guy, that red team player right there, and I saw that he was 385 meters out, but he wasn't coming or going. And that is a dead giveaway that that is a mid-range bot. He's too far out for splash, like an Orkin or a Pinata, and he's too far out for plasma. That is a mid-range. And so you can sort of guess as to what the other players are in without having to see them. Without having to peek around a corner and expose yourself to splash damage, you can guess what those enemy team players are in just by how they are acting. So here I thought the best place for me was right here at center. They're sort of congregating right here, and so I need to take down some Ansel shields and lend some fire support. But I'm also trying to play with this corner, never really fully exposing myself. I notice that there's an Ansel shield right here, and you're going to see me follow him. There's a reason for this. It's a couple fold. One is I'm almost dead. Psychologically, understand what that does to players in this game. When you see someone that's almost dead, you want to focus fire on them. It doesn't matter if 3 other people are shooting at them, you want that kill as well. And so that's what happened here. They're all firing at me while my teammate is headed across there free of charge. Do I know that I'm going to get taken out? Yeah, probably. But what it does is it saves him from taking fire. I'm almost dead anyway. There's not much more I'm going to do in that bot. But while they're firing at me, they're not firing at him, and therefore his shield health is saved, and hopefully his HP is saved as well. Alright, so here you're going to see me sort of go back and forth on my views. And again, what I'm doing is I'm checking ranges and I'm also checking movements. You're going to see me sort of key in on this guy over here to the right. And I'm going to, so I just checked to make sure that we had that. I checked to make sure there wasn't any other players over here. You see me headed over here a little bit because I was suspecting he was going to come over here, and I wanted to be in a position where I could actually defend that beacon over there. But it looked like at some point he wasn't really going to do that, or he was taking fire and he wasn't going to make it. And so I didn't really feel like it was imperative for me to go any further. So I decided to stay closer to this center beacon. Now this Leo here, I'm looking off to my left bottom screen. See that arrow over there? Or it was over there. It's up above now. But I saw that, and so I suspected I was having some company come my way. I'm not playing with the corner on this one. I'm making sure that every single one of my Tehran shots are going into him. Why? Because he has splash damage and a thunder. My energy shield was going to be down anyway, and a splash is basically makes corner shooting useless. So I decided to just come out there and get every single shot in on him. So now I'm just going to stand under here, and I'm going to use my energy shield to try and protect my teammate right here. It is absolutely infuriating when you see someone with an ansel shield in this game and then there's players right next to them, and they just, I don't know what they're thinking, but they just do not use that player's ansel shield. They go out on their own and they get shot all to hell, and they waste a perfectly good bot when they could have gotten a lot more mileage out of that. So here, I'm formulating a plan at this point. I see that they are down 2 players, and I'm going to go out and get that beacon because we are up 4 beacons to 1, and if I bring this home, our beacon bar doesn't go any lower than it does, and I know that this is probably game if I cap this beacon. It was probably game even if I didn't cap this beacon, but this was just icing on the cake. And it is so frustrating when you are on that side of it. You were up, you should have won the game. There's really no excuse why you shouldn't have won that game, and you just don't. It is frustrating, I know. But hopefully some tips given in this game will help you avoid that in the future. And the number one tip that I can give you is to stay alive. Do not waste bots unnecessarily. Stay alive, because you can't do anything for your team if you've mech'd out. Alright, hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I have new gameplay videos every single day. Smash that thumbs up or thumbs down button. Don't be shy. Leave a comment down below with your own tips and tricks.